guys and gals, and welcome to the episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be looking at another unique item. It's called the Crest of Ardura, the Jingling Crest Shield. And it's actually quite interesting. As you can see, I have mine upgraded 20% quality. It has a block chance of 25%. It is armor energy shield, so it is kind of in the right category for a sorceress, I guess. It does require level 28, 30 strength, and 30 intelligence, and it does also grant the ability Raise Shield. So if you're interested in blocking some attacks, this allows you to do that. So you can actually block some attacks. And on top of that, since it is a shield, you also obviously get access to other shield-like abilities, like, for instance, the ability to shield charge. Boom. Boom.
I can't do that yet.
Now, this particular shield has other things on it besides just that. It does also have the 80% increased armor and energy shield on it. It goes from 60 to 100%. Since it's a lower level shield, it's probably not going to give you very much, even if you did have that at 100%, so it's not really too big of a deal. It does have 30 to 50% increased mana regeneration rate, which is very nice. And it also comes with 10 to 20 intelligence, which is definitely going to be useful for putting on spells and using spell gems and stuff like that. The meat and potatoes of this particular item, though, is the increased cooldown recovery rate. So it gives you a 50% increased cooldown recovery rate, which is massive. If you take a look at some of my abilities that have relatively large cooldowns, like for instance, Frost Bomb is currently at 3.5 seconds. I'm also utilizing Frost Wall, which is at 3 seconds. And I also have Time Snap, which is one of my larger abilities, which is currently at 34 seconds. Now, granted, I currently do have some cooldown reductions already. So as you can see, I'm currently at 22.37 seconds on my Time Snap. I'm at 5.74 seconds because I actually increased the cooldown of Frost Bomb. And my Frost Wall is at 2.46 seconds. When I put this item on, my cooldown recovery rate is going to go down rather dramatically. Or my cooldowns are going to go down rather dramatically. As you can see, I go from 5.74 to 4.07 on my Frost Bomb. I'm going from 22.37 to 16.83 on my Time Snap, and I'm also going down from 2.46 to 1.74 on my Frost Wall. This could also potentially be used with other long cooldown abilities, like, as an example, one in particular that might work really well on this character that I was actually considering is one of the mace abilities. It's the Hammer of the Gods, which has a very long cooldown of 24 seconds. Now, utilizing a character like this who can bring cooldowns, down to a minimum, would definitely allow you to spam Hammer of the Gods if that's what you would like to do. So if you want to set up a Hammer of the Gods spammer, this is definitely an interesting shield for that. On top of this, it also has other connotations, which is it feeds into the Chronomancer itself. So the Chronomancer is a spec on the Sorceress. It is one that's not really getting utilized as much right now, but it does have some very interesting things, and we're going to take a look at it. So first off is the cooldown recovery rate that it gives you. So you do get some 6% and a 6%, so a nice 12% cooldown recovery rate if you go down this side of the tree, which is going to help you as well on top of that 50%. Then there's also a 33% chance for your cooldowns to just not be consumed, which feeds into the cooldown recovery rate even further. So when you're casting your abilities, you notice I have 2 casts of Frost Bomb here. I can cast it, and then I cast it again, and notice it didn't burn the cooldown. I cast it again, it didn't burn the cooldown. I cast it again, it didn't burn the cooldown. And I've got a hell of a lot more than just 2 Frost Bombs going off for the duration of what I've got. In fact, let me just go ahead and I'll just spin around and we'll see how many I can get. So 1, 2, and of course that time I only got 2, so not as good. Let's try again. The 33% chance doesn't always proc, and sometimes it procs all the time. It's kind of crazy. So 1, 2, and of course we ended up with just 2 again. Now, that's not it, though. So the other thing that you can potentially get from the Chronomancer for this is you can also potentially get the ability to reset your cooldown through the Time Snap ability, which is also a cooldown in and of itself. So let's put the shield back on, optimize our setup so we have the lowest cooldown that we can possibly get on both abilities. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, reset, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I actually ran out of mana there. 10, 11, and we get to reset again. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And as you can see there, now I'm currently on cooldown for everything. But it's definitely something that allows us to get off a large number of cooldowns for, just a character in general. The cooldown recovery rate is a very specific effect, which is going to be obviously only useful to people who are actually using cooldowns. However, there is the ability to turn pretty much anything into a cooldown via support gems. So this is kind of an interesting one, and I've been playing around with this myself. There's a couple support gems that have access to adding cooldown to your ability, and when they do so, they make it worse, not better. So Second Wind gives you 2 charges, but reduces the cooldown recovery rate by 50%, which is why my Frost Bomb is more than what it normally is, because I'm actually giving my Frost Bomb 2 charges with Second Wind. Ingenuity increases the cooldown recovery rate, so you do get to recover a little bit faster. There's also ones that, let me disable this, go to all gems, and then type in cooldown. Then we have ones like this one, which supported skills have 40% more chance to critically hit, but gain in 8 seconds to their cooldown. We also have Hourglass, which is supported skills deal 40% more damage, but gain 10 seconds to their cooldown. Supported skills have 40% more area of effect, but gain 6 seconds to their cooldown. Now, why would you potentially want to add cooldown? Well, in this particular case, they're giving you a massive bonus of huge amount of damage, but they're also adding this huge cooldown onto your ability. Well, as a Chronomancer, and with this particular shield, I can reduce that effect by a pretty drastic degree and offset that 10-second cooldown by a large margin. Because number one, there's a chance that I might just not even trigger the cooldown at all. Number two, I can reset the cooldown with Time Snap. Number three, I'm also stacking as much cooldown recovery as I possibly can to make that 10 seconds into a lot smaller number than what it would normally represent. In fact, we can go ahead and make one of these hourglasses, and let's see how much it actually adds to the skill once we've got all of our abilities in place. So for instance, Time Snap would probably be a bad choice, actually. So let's not do Time Snap, because Time Snap is not the right one. But let's do Frost Bomb. So we'll do... we'll take out Considered Casting for the moment, although that is one that I really like with this ability. And we're going to increase the cooldown. So the current cooldown is 4.07 seconds. I'm going to add 10 seconds to this. And I can't add that particular one to this one. Let's try Expanse. Nope. Can't do that one either. Alright, let's try another skill. So we got... Frostwall probably can't get it either. I don't think Frostwall can get it either. No, Frostwall can't use either of these. A Solar Orb. Can you use either one of these? Yes, you can. So we can add both of these to Solar Orb. Or one of them to Solar Orb. And now Solar Orb has a 6-second cooldown, right? But let's take a look at Solar Orb on the bar. Solar Orb's cooldown is only 3.49 seconds. So despite the fact that we have a, like a regular, like a 6-second cooldown addition here to Solar Orb, turning Solar Orb into a form of a cooldown, it is, however, not gaining the full 6 seconds because we have such a large amount of cooldown reduction to allow that to offset, right? And then on top of that, even if we did add these both into an ability, so we gained the 10-second cooldown for 40% more damage, and then we also gain the 50% more area of effect with plus second cooldown, like, we're still able to offset this by resetting the ability, by getting free uses of the ability through the 33% chance for free uses, and we also can add on this shield, which is going to add on a huge amount of recovery rate as well, so we can offset a lot of this problem. In fact, that seems to be pretty much how the Chronomancer is designed. It seems to be designed under the auspices of, like, are we... I didn't mean to take those out of there. Dang it. I'd be messing up my characters all the time. I think it was this one. I think. I don't know. But you can set up to basically offset a lot of the problems with your recovery by utilizing this character in this way. And this shield is just one of the potential options for this. It offers additional recovery rate, which makes it easier, obviously, for you to spam your abilities, and just feeds into the overall package. That way I'm able to do things like, 1, 2, 3, reset, 1, 2, 3, or like reset essentially, and I'm just constantly getting as many of these effects as I possibly can. And obviously having it reset faster is better. Being able to reset it with the time snap ability is obviously very good too. Having the time snap ability be lower cooldown is also very good in this equation. So there's a lot of fun things that you can potentially do with this to get as much output as you can possibly get. Unfortunately, time snap doesn't really have a lot of support gems that you can put into it. It's actually kind of poopy. I do have the 30% reduced cooldown, which is definitely helping out tremendously, but as you can see also, I just used time snap there, and time snap also did not consume the cooldown. So that's another very interesting feature of the 33% chance to not consume the cooldown, is it also works on time snap, which is a very long cooldown ability. So being able to fire off 2 time snaps in a row means that I can reset, obviously, Frost Bomb and other cooldown abilities quicker, or more numbers of times in general, which is really neat. It's definitely an interesting shield. It's a very basic shield. Obviously, the 50% cooldown recovery rate is the real draw. Everything else on it is very bland, and you are, of course, giving up your alternate slot. But you do gain the ability to raise your shield, and you also gain the ability to shield charge. So that's kind of fun. I like the ability to shield charge around. Shield charge is a very good movement ability. And being a sorceress that can shield charge around certainly isn't terrible. And having a 25% block chance isn't terrible either. It's a little bit of additional survivability layer added on top, which is neat. I guess you could take some block chance nodes if you really wanted to build into the block chance. There's quite a bit of block chance nodes on the board. On the warrior section, like down here, there's like a whole section for the shield. It's like 5%, 5%. That's like 15, or 25. Oh, I know, 5, and then 10. So 20. There's also some more block chance in various places. Like here's another 5, and there's 12%. And so before you know it, like if you wanted to grab some block chance with this particular shield to obviously decrease the negatives of it, because obviously if you're wearing a shield and you build for block chance, then you're making it a positive. You're building that defensive layer, and you're making your character tankier. You do lose out, unfortunately, on the offensive stats of a focus, but hopefully the 50% increased cooldown recovery rate is acting as a positive in and of itself, right? Increasing your damage output by increasing the total number of skills that you can apply at any given time. And since you can turn basically anything into a cooldown and add additional damage to it, there's also that. I've actually heard of a couple builds so far around the Hammer of the Gods and using the Chronomancer, basically to get unlimited Hammer of the Gods. So you're using Time Snap, and you're using the 33% chance to not consume Hammer of the Gods, and then you're basically spamming hammers on top people's heads, which is hilarious. I'm curious whether or not they take advantage of the 50% cooldown recovery rate from the shield. I mean, there is a passive that would potentially allow you to use a two-handed weapon and a shield at the same time. But I'm not sure. Anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys and gals joining me. The flavor text on this says, when the red Sekima called, the Ardura were the first to answer. And as always, keep watching.